Boys and girls, my name is Mrs. Karbach, and I am a third and fourth grade teacher at Ancillae-Assumpta Academy in Wyncote, Pennsylvania. Our little town is just outside of the big city of Philadelphia. I'm here today to read to you Chapter 17 of Planet Omar, Accidental Trouble Magnet. So let's begin. Chapter 17. We'd been living in our new house for 7 whole weeks. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it was weird. My bedroom really felt like my bedroom now. Even though when I shut my eyes, I could still remember exactly how my old room looked, with the stickers on the dresser that were peeling off and the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling that Dad helped me put up when I was younger, and Issa's teddies all over the floor. I didn't feel like I wanted to move back. I liked pretty much everything about where we live now. Everything except, can you guess? Daniel, obviously. Nobody else seemed to have a problem with me, but Daniel kept ruining everything. Most of our class hung out together on the playground, and though Charlie was my best friend, we often played soccer with Philippe and Jaden and Jessica. Once or twice the girls at the table next to ours asked for my help in science, even Sarah, who is smart at everything. I'll give you an example of how Daniel made me feel miserable a million pointless times. One Wednesday afternoon, Mrs. Hutchinson asked a question. It was the type of question that teachers ask when they know that their kids don't know the answer, but they ask it anyway, just to see. She asked, "What is DNA?" The class was blank. I knew Mrs. Hutchinson had expected that because she didn't look disappointed. I knew what it was, but I didn't want to be a show-off. "Okay, does anybody know what genes are?" she asked. One kid put up his hand and proudly said, "Clothes." "No," she said slowly, stretching it out, which meant she wanted other guesses. "Genies?" another kid, clearly unsure, asked. Mrs. Hutchinson's face still smiled, but her hair and her eyes gave it away. She was sad her class didn't have at least a clue about what genes were. I couldn't take it anymore. I shot my hand up. Genes are what makes us what we are. They're like special instructions. They decide what color our eyes are and things like that. And DNA is where the genes are found. Lots of them. Mrs. Hutchinson's hair sprang to life like flowers that had just been watered. She said she was astonished at how much I knew about genes. I told her my parents were both scientists and it was one of their favorite topics. Charlie gave me a high five, but then Daniel gave me a rotten look, and suddenly I wished I'd never said anything at all. Every time he glared at me or pushed me and Charlie around on the playground, it reminded me of what he'd said, that I should be kicked out of my home. And sent to a country I'd never even visited. I didn't think he could be right, but if he wasn't, then why would Reza believe it was going to happen too? At home, things were just as normal. Everyone was settled into Ramadan routine and starting to plan the Eid, which was just around the corner. We have 2 Eids in the year, and they are the 2 best days of the year for me. There's Eid ul-Fitr, which was the Eid coming up, the one that is for celebrating, that we've fasted for a whole month and earned lots of reward points. And then there's Eid al-Adha, just a couple months later, which basically celebrates Hajj. That's when people go to Mecca on a holy journey. We have to sacrifice a sheep or something like that on Eid, like Prophet Abraham did. But obviously, if you don't have a farm, you don't do it yourself. If I had to choose, my favorite Eid is the first one, because that's when I seem to get a whole lot of presents. Maybe by the second one, everyone's money has run out or something. I usually drop a lot of hints to my parents about what presents to get me. Please, can I have an Xbox One? Please? Okay, maybe it's not hinting. Maybe it's begging. My mom orders lots of the presents, and I eat clothes online. But it's funny, because when the delivery man comes, she runs around the house going, "Arr!" and looking for her headscarf, which is never where she left it. It usually involves her hopping from room to room before sprinting upstairs to grab one and opening the door and panting and apologizing. Once or twice, She even grabbed my hoodie and used it as a hijab. The last time this happened, Miriam pointed out that people who aren't Muslim must think that Muslim women wear their scarves on their heads all day long, even at home, because whenever she comes to the door, my mom always has one on. They must think Mom sleeps in it and showers in it and eats her breakfast in it. When Miriam isn't being Princess Grumpy Pants, she can be really funny. The thought of Mom showering in her headscarf had us laughing for literally 7.5 minutes. I kept imagining her shampooing it and blow-drying it. And then at dinner, out of the blue, Miriam blurted out, "Shower scarf!" and spat my food all over the table because I laughed so hard. That's it for today, boys and girls. I hope you enjoy the rest of the book.